So what we're focusing on today is nerve flossing. And we have this network of nerves all the way through the body, which is quite incredible. And we have the spinal cord that travels down the center of our spine and is housed by the vertebrae of the spine. And it's a pathway between the brain and the rest of the limbs. And we call these nerves down the center of the spine the peripheral nerves. And they're basically, amongst lots of other things, I simplify it, creating a signal, a transmission highway between the brain and the leg and the arms. And other bits and pieces with the organs inside of us. So what I wanted to explore, so many people are coming to me over the last months and telling me about having achy wrists, having trouble around the jaw, around the neck, sciatica is a big thing, and discomfort in the back in certain shapes. So I started to look into all of these different things, and I've come together with some shapes that we'll come into that are going to look a bit strange. So for example, sometimes we're going to be like this, which is a little bit like the teapot nursery rhyme that you might have heard as a child. But it's going to be creating movement or space where the main bulk of the nerves are moving, okay? So if you've ever experienced tingling in your fingers or a little bit of numbness or tingling or shooting sensation down the hip, some of these shapes are going to be really, really helpful for you. Some of you are going to feel stretches in the shapes, and some of you will not feel stretches, and some of you will feel stretches on one side and not the other. And if you take any of these stretches away with you into your life, away from Yoga with Caroline, then you'll want to do more often the side that feels like there's something that needs stretching, okay? So how we stretch muscles and nerves is very, very different, just like how we do yin and yang classes very differently. So I'm incorporating these nerve flossing movements into yoga shapes just for the familiarity's sake for us. But you can also do them just sitting down or standing up, okay? So this is just how I've chosen to do it today. So let's get started, a little less talking from me. Grab a block or a cushion and just sit yourself up on your block or cushion. Find a little length in the spine. We're going to be here for just a moment or two before we begin the moving. And just sit back a little bit till you feel the muscles in the lower belly start to fire up. And then lift up through the crown of the head. So right from the beginning of class, we're creating a little less compression in the spine, a little bit more length in the vertebrae. And then take your palms to face up. And notice how with the palms facing up, there's that little opening around the front of the chest, which is so helpful in terms of a nerve pathway in the front of the shoulder here. And then just close your eyes. Take a moment to just catch your breath, notice the breath. So many times we're breathing and not really even noticing, not realizing that that breath is there, it's happening. And as you begin to notice the breath, notice how it draws you into the moment so effortlessly. It draws us away from thinking about things we were doing before. It draws us away from trying to imagine how the class might be or what happens after the class, what Monday looks like. And it allows us to really connect into this moment and check in with how we're doing. So take a nice big breath in through the nose. Sit up a little taller as you do. Notice the expansion around the chest, around the heart, around the lungs and ribs. And then when you breathe out, just notice how it feels to stay just as tall as you are, but to draw everything back into center. Natural breath. And I want you to take 3 more big indulgent breaths through the nose, in and out if you can. Expanding, growing taller. More space through the spine, heart, chest as you breathe in. Holding that space and length in the spine as you breathe out. 2 more rounds of breath just like this. And soften the muscles around the eyes, around the mouth. Welcome a sense of ease into this moment. Last breath. And when that breath is finished, obviously you'll continue to breathe, but just without the awareness quite so fully now, as you notice how you feel. Sometimes just a few breaths in and out is enough to really change our perspective, to focus inward. And you have the choice to open the eyes or close the eyes as I explain what we're going to do next, okay? So we'll keep the spine long, we'll keep the same position that we're in. We're going to reach our left arm out ahead of us, okay? And I want you to spread the fingers as far away from each other as you can. So almost like you're doing a very dramatic wave at somebody. Hands are really wide. Pinky finger is far away from thumb. Okay, and it's almost like the fingers are drawing downward. And I want you with your right hand to take hold of the tip of your thumb. And as you inhale, I want you to draw the thumb back towards your wrist. And it's obviously not going to go very far. And keep reaching the pinky finger away from the thumb. Keep spreading the fingers as wide as you can. And then take a big breath in. Eyes can close for this. Take a big breath out. And then do one more breath in, nice and long, hand stays wide. And then a nice breath out. And then take your right hand to the second finger, the index finger now. Spread the fingers as wide as you can. Draw the index finger backward towards your body. And take a nice big inhale here. So the hand is wide, palm is wide. Big inhale. Big exhale. And then one more, big inhale. And then big exhale. And then switch fingers to the middle finger now. Same thing again. Everything is reaching wide. Big inhale as you draw right finger towards yourself. And then an exhale. Second inhale and exhale on your own rhythm. And then ring finger. Draws towards your body. Thumb and pinky away from each other. Hand wide. Inhale. Exhale. One more round. Inhale. And then exhale. And then finally, pinky finger draws towards you. Thumb reaches away from you. Inhale here. Fingers spread wide. Palm open. Relaxing breath out. Jaw relaxed. One more inhale and exhale. And then just rest the palms back onto the lap. Take a moment to pause, eyes closed. And some of you might feel a little sensation of tingling or awakening through the forearm, perhaps through the inside of the wrist. A really nice technique both to catch a breath and a time out, but also a way to clear some space through the medial nerve for those of us that sit down at our desks or our phones a lot. So we have two hands. Let's switch now to the right hand. So lift the right hand up. Spread the fingers as wide as you can. Thumb away from the fingers. Okay? And then go ahead and take the thumb towards you. Spread the fingers away. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. One more inhale and exhale on your own rhythm. And then switch to the index finger, second finger. Big breath in. Big breath out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Moving to middle finger, thumb and pinky as far away from each other as you can. Wide hand, big breath in. Big breath out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Moving to ring finger. Big breath in. Big breath out. Make sure the hand stays wide. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then finally, pinky finger. Big breath in. Big breath out. Last one, big breath in. Big breath out. Okay, keep the eyes closed, palms of the hands resting down onto the lap. Just take a moment to breathe. Notice any sensations that there might be there to notice. And again, all of these stretches may not work for all of you in terms of you're not needing them, but they will keep our nerves healthier as we age, whether we need them in this moment or not. One more breath. All right, and then just slowly release the block, open your eyes, And go ahead and sit yourself on your toes. Okay, so you're tucking your toes under, sitting on the toes, and this is going to get into the plantar fascia. So this is nothing to do with nerves. This is just a fascia release. If it's too much for you to sit on your toes, you can be up like this, hips above knees, or you can grab your block and cushion, put it between the feet, and sit on that. And you can change that at any time. Okay, so I'm going to start sitting on my heels facing you. And you're going to let the left hand stay down on the lap. And now I want you to take the right arm out wide, but with a bend in the elbow. Okay? Palm facing as if you're pushing into a wall, fingers up. Okay? Elbow is bent at the moment. And if it's too much on the toes, remember you can just sit on your shins. And now I want you to straighten out the arm as best you can. Imagine you're pushing into a wall, and then drop your left ear over to left shoulder. And just notice how that feels. And we're going to take 2 breaths here. And what we're doing is moving the nerve from being in its shortest position when the arm is bent to its longest position. And we're working with the median nerve still here. Last breath. And then bend the elbow, come back up to upright. Catch your breath here. And then extend the arm as if you're pushing into a wall, ear towards shoulder. So you're lengthening the nerve now. It's at its longest point. And you might feel sensation through the front of the shoulder, through the wrist, forearm. One more breath. And then bend the elbow, come back up to upright. We've got 3 more like it. Straighten the arm, left ear towards left shoulder, 2 breaths. Eyes can be open or closed. Second breath finishes, lift yourself back up, bend the elbow. Okay, and then 4th round, straighten the arm, reach away, ear to shoulder. Nice, and then bend the elbow. And then last one, straighten the arm, ear to elbow. Notice how it feels, trying to keep the fingers facing up as best you can. 1 more breath. Nice, and then just place the hand back down onto the thighs. And now we're going to switch the feet up. So you're going to sit on the top of your feet. Some of you are going to feel the stretch through the top of the feet like this, so you'll stay there. Some of you might need to put a little block underneath the knees to elevate the knees so that there's more pressure coming down onto the feet here. Okay, so choice is yours in terms of that. So let me just come back around. We're going to do the left arm now, and then we're going to come to sciatic nerve, and then we'll start to move a little bit. So then right hand is staying on thighs. Left arm reaching over to the side, fingers facing up as if we're pushing into a wall lightly, elbow bent. And then push into the wall, straighten the arm as best you can, right ear to right shoulder. So now the nerve is in the longest position. And for me, this is really hard on this side. And I know this. I used to suffer with carpal tunnel syndrome a lot after having my daughter. So I know I need to work this side a little bit more than the other. So take the information for you, for your body. And then bend the elbow, come back up to upright. Catch your breath. And then straighten the arm out, ear to shoulder. And it's like you're pushing into an imaginary wall. Fingers are reaching up, if you can. And then elbow bends, coming back up to upright. We've got 3 more. We're going to put these into shapes in a moment or 2. Straighten the arm, ear to shoulder. Notice if it increases intensity or gets lighter. Bend the elbow, come back up to upright. 2 more. Straighten the arm, ear to shoulder. Your version of straight doesn't have to be exactly straight. And then bend the elbow, come back up to upright. Okay, 1 more time. Straighten the arm, ear to shoulder. Nice, and then bend the elbow, come back to center. Take a breath here. Just notice how it feels, any tingling or warmth or coolness there. Okay, and then if you had a block underneath your knees, just gently release it to the side. Go ahead and lie yourself down now. We're going to get up after this. If you have your strap, you can use it, but I think we're just going to use our fingers. So lie yourself down onto your back. And this is a really nice one for anyone suffering from sciatic nerve troubles, okay? The shooting pains down there, the lower back and outer hip. And your left leg can either stay with a bend in it, or you can straighten the leg out here. And you're going to pick up the right foot and draw the knee into the chest and just interlace the fingers behind the shin. And point the toes towards you. Okay, so the nerve is in its shortest position here. And then go ahead and straighten the leg out. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Pointing the toes towards you, lifting up through the heel of the foot and the ball of the foot, and yet toes come back towards you. Nice light grip of the leg. Okay? And then take another breath here. Notice how it feels through the back of the ankle. Keep the leg exactly as it is and point the toes up towards the sky. Now, some of you will be used to doing this with me where we move with every breath, but we're going to stay in each position just a little bit longer. And then point the toes towards you, heel upward. One more breath. And then point the toes upward, heel relaxed. Notice the sensation of general stretch around the foot and ankle. And then toes towards us, heel up. Those of you who are joining for yin after, this is going to really help with some of the shapes we're doing there as well. Toes point up to the sky. Grip of the hands, nice and relaxed. Toes towards us, heel up. And we're going to do that one more time. If we had more time, you can do this 10 times on each leg, and then 3 rounds of 10. And then toes towards you, heel upward. This is just a taster session so that we get to move a little as well. And then just bend the knee, hug it into center. And then relax the leg next to the left leg and just notice how left and right leg feel in terms of sensitivity now, sensation. And then go ahead and swap legs. Left leg draws in, right leg is bent or straight. Interlace fingers behind left thigh. Point the toes towards you. So the nerve is in its shortest state here. And then start to extend the leg upward. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Mine isn't. And just point toes towards you, heel up. Notice how it feels sensation-wise in fascia around the foot, ankle, muscles in that area. And then point the toes upward. And again, just notice if one side feels like it's really beneficial and the other side is just a bit like, well, that's nice, but not much is happening. And then toes towards you, heel up. And as I said, sometimes these things don't feel like we need them in the moment, but we do need to mobilize our nerves just as much as our muscles so that we stay functioning as a whole body, a whole being. Toes point upward. Nice and relaxed in the upper body. Toes point towards us. Heel lifts up. Toes pointing upward. One more breath. Toes towards us, heel up. And we're going to do one more round like this. So toes pointing up, pointing away from us. And then last time, toes towards us. Nice. And then bend the elbow, knee draws into the chest here. And then slowly release the leg down. Reach the arms up overhead, full body stretch. Spread the fingers, spread the toes. Get into those harder to reach little areas, pockets of fascia in between. Reminding the muscles that are spreading these fingers and toes that that's their job. They need to wake up to do it a little more often. And then hug the knees into the chest, take hold of the back of the thighs, and just rock and roll yourself along the length of the spine. Always a nice idea to awaken the tissues there. And then go ahead and rock and roll yourself all the way up to tabletop position. So you'll come up and over onto your shins now. Okay, and then from there, hands come underneath shoulders. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Just remind those muscles that that's a pretty cool trick and job that they have. And this is going to be a little bit different. So for the first 3 rounds of cat and cow, we're going to do it normally. Okay, so what I mean by that is join me for here. Inhale, soften the belly, chest forward, gaze forward. Okay, this is the normal way. As you exhale, round through the spine, push the ground away, chin draws to the chest. 2 more like that. Inhale, chest forward, tailbone lift. And then exhale, rounding through the spine. And then 1 more round of moving. Chest forward, inhale. Nice, and then exhale, rounding through the spine. And now keep the chin tucked, but round the belly. So it's like the opposite motion. So your belly's drawing down towards the ground, but you're drawing the chin to the chest. And now round the spine, but look forward. It's going to feel a bit weird. And then lower the belly, tuck the chest, chin to chest. Okay, and then round the spine, look forward. Okay, opposite rules apply. And then other way, chin to chest. Round the spine, but look forward. And then belly softens, chin to chest. And then last one, round the spine and look forward. Okay? And then just come on back to neutral. Walk the fingers just a little bit further forward and then tuck the toes under. Lift up through the hips, downward facing dog. And just push the ground away with the hands. Lift the hips high. Start to walk the dog. Should feel pretty nice through the back of the legs. Yeah, we've done a little bit of flossing in both the fascia and the nerves. And what that means when we're flossing the nerves is that we're removing the adhesions or the stickiness of the fascia attaching to the nerves, which is essentially what blocks them. So it should feel pretty good and nice around there. Take another big breath. And then walk your hands towards your feet. Bend the knees, take hold of opposite elbows and just sway a little bit from side to side. Head heavy, neck relaxed. Take another breath just here. And we want to keep the spine healthy all the time, decompressing it as much as we can so that these nerves have the right space to flow through the vertebrae and tissues in between. Release the elbows, draw the belly to the spine, and just roll yourself up vertebrae by vertebrae. Head will be the last thing to come up. And then tuck the chin into the chest, round the spine, arms get heavy, and just roll yourself slowly back down to the ground. Okay, and then one more time, belly to spine, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll yourself back up. Creating a sense of space and ease and fluidity through the spine. Chin draws to the chest, round the upper back, arms get heavy and floppy. Folding forward, hands to the ground, walk yourself forward to downward facing dog. And then inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose. And then take it back, three-legged downward dog. And then step the foot between the hands. Lower the knee down. Grab blocks if you need to for your hands here. And push into the hands, okay? And as you inhale here, you're going to take a nice long breath, lengthen the spine. And we're going to switch the breath up for this. So now as you exhale, puff the chest forward, sink down into the hips. So the exhale is the chest forward. Okay? And then inhale, straighten out the front leg, and it's like you're rounding the back. So you're drawing the chin to the chest and rounding the back. Okay? Pushing the ground away as the leg straightens. And then inhale, bend the knee, exhale, bend the knee, puff the chest forward. And then inhale, straighten the leg, rounding the spine, chin to chest. One more. Bend the knee, exhale. Chest puffs forward. Stretch through the front of left hip. And then inhale, straighten the front leg and round the spine. Notice how that feels in the upper back. And then slowly bend the knee, sink into the hips, blocks to the side, arms to the sky. Okay, grip the block, grip the feet into the mat. Get nice and strong. Notice how it feels through the front of that left hip here. And then just slowly sink down deeper. Keep the belly drawn in and away from the thigh. Left hand to left hip. And then this time, take your right arm out to the side of the room. Okay, and what we were doing on the ground, let's see if I can face you to make that easier to see. Okay, and bend in the elbow. And instead of the fingers facing up this time, you're going to see if you can turn the fingers like a clock, clockwise, backward, until they reach number 6, or in that general direction. Keep thinking into your lunge, and then straighten out the arm. Fingers are reaching downward, and then take the ear, left shoulder. Continue to sink into your hip. So you're getting into front of left hip. Okay, and we really want to be doing these exercises maybe 3 or 4 times a week. Just the arm bit, I mean. Take another breath. And then bend the elbow, come back up to upright. Sink a little deeper into the hip if you can. Draw the belly in. And then straighten out the arm, fingers down, ear to shoulder. Notice if it feels different with fingers down versus fingers up. Your palm is reaching away from your body. And then bend the elbow, come back upright. We're going to do 2 more. Straighten, arm, fingers down, ear to shoulder. Sink into the hips. So all the time we're getting into the front of the hip. We're just distracting ourselves a little with these nerve flossing drills. Bend the elbow, back upright. And then last one, straighten the arm, ear to shoulder. Should be feeling it in the legs quite a lot as well. Last breath. Nice. And then left hand down to the ground. Twist and take right hand up to the sky. Tuck left toes under, lift the knee. Shoulders draw back, fingers reach up. Much more space. Last breath. Nice. And then hand to the ground, step it back to downward facing dog. Hands push the ground away, hips high, thighs reach back. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, 3-legged downward dog. Exhale, foot comes between the hand, right knee draws down. Grab your blocks if you need for your hands. Sink into the hips. Get settled in the feet. Okay, and on your inhale, just as you are. On your exhale, puff the chest forward, sink into the hips, look forward. And on your inhale, straighten the front leg, toes towards you, round through the spine, chin to chest. Okay, so opposite moves to what we normally do. Like a cat and cow on a lunge and a Hanumanasana. And then exhale, bend the knee, puff the chest forward, look up. And then inhale, straighten the front leg, round through the spine. And then exhale, bend the knee, sink into the hips, puff the chest, look up a bit more. And then inhale, straighten the front leg, round the upper back, chin to chest. And then last one, exhale, puff the chest, lift up with the gaze. And then straighten out the leg, chin to chest, rounding the back. And then back to normal breathing. Inhale, bend the knee, blocks to the side, arms up to the sky. Sink on down into the hips here. Okay, notice how it feels through front of right hip, which is normally why we're here. And then bring your right hand down to rest on your hip. Okay, take your left arm out now. And with the fingers facing up with a bend in the elbow, just anti-clockwise, turn the fingers down towards 6 o'clock. Okay? And then when you're ready, straighten out the arm as best you can, right ear, right shoulder. And this side is really uncomfortable for me, so just check in and see how it feels for you. And again, not everyone's going to feel it. And then bend the elbow, come back up to right, sink down into the hip. Keep the belly engaged. And then straighten out the arms, fingers reach down, right ear, right shoulder. You can even relax the right arm if that feels better. Nice, and then bend, lift up, okay? Sink down. Straighten out the arm, ear to shoulder. And I'm feeling it around about here, which is often an area where I feel the nerve pinging when I abruptly try to lift my arm. So I know I need it. And then bend the elbow, come back up. We're going to do just one more. Sink down more. And then straighten out the arm, ear to shoulder. Nice. And then slowly lift yourself back up, elbow bends. And then take right hand to the ground. Twist and take left hand up to the sky. Right knee lifts. Take a nice big breath just here. Notice how that feels. And then hand to the ground, step it back to plank. Okay, and exhale chaturanga, come all the way down. Come into Sphinx pose. Shoulders above, elbows roughly. Now as you inhale, look forward and up, lift the right leg. Doesn't matter how far you can lift it. And then exhale, put the foot down, chin to chest, so you feel a stretch through the back of the neck. And then inhale, look forward and up, lift left leg. And then leg down, chin to chest. 2 more each side. Inhale, look up, right leg lifts. Right leg down, chin to chest. Inhale, look up and forward, left leg lifts. Really good for strengthening back body as well. Left leg down, chin to chest. And then look forward and up, right leg lifts. Right leg down, chin to chest. And then last one, look up and forward, left leg lifts. And it might be valuable to notice which leg lifts higher, which feels more comfortable. Left leg down, chin to chest. And then lower down, hands next to the chest. Tuck the toes, lift back to plank. Find your way to downward facing dog. Sink into the hips, sink into the feet and heels, but lift up through the hips. Remember, we're trying to decompress the spine, lengthen the spine, make the spine have so much space that the nerves can send their messages between the brain and the arms and the legs. One more breath. And then look to the middle of your mat. Step your way forward. Lower the bottom to the ground. Soles of the feet come to touch. Interlace fingers around the toes. Collarbone broad. Sit up tall as you inhale. And as you exhale, begin to work your way forward. Nothing other than the shape as it is here. Hands can stay on toes or fingers can work their way forward here. And just notice how it feels around your shoulders, around your neck, around your legs. Breath slow, deep and relaxed. Just a little taster of some of the things that we can sprinkle through our regular practice when we feel like things are not quite right. Sometimes when we're not moving as much as we can, or when we're stressed, the fascia in our body gets dehydrated, it gets gluey and sticky and clunky. And the more we don't move, the thicker and clumpier the fascia gets. And the fascia is wrapped all the way around the muscles, all the way around the bones, all the way around the nerves, the blood vessels. And suddenly things don't move in the way they should in the body. And if the nerves can't move freely, the signals between the brain and the body, the rest of it, they get stuck and lost as well. So we lose movement. If we don't use it, we lose it. So this is just a little reminder of adding extra things in other than just the normal things to keep our bodies and our minds healthy for longer. And when you finish the breath that you're with, just begin to work your way back up to a seat. Hands are going to come underneath the knees pointing upward. And just make sure you've got a little bit of space behind you. Go ahead and lie yourself down onto your mat. Hug the knees into the chest for a moment. Keep them nice and tight to the body. Take left arm to left side of the room. And then draw the knees over to the right, still hugging them really close into you. Gaze wherever feels good for your neck. And you can even practice some of these works with the wrists and hands in the spinal twists. Take another breath here in this direction. And then guide the knees back to center. Keep them in close. On your exhale, lower them over to the left. Right arm out to the right. Close your eyes. Let the gaze go to wherever feels good for the neck, the comfort of the neck. Just one more breath here. And then unwind, come back to center, Shavasana. Relax the legs down either side of the mat. And just take some time to settle in to your shape. Feet falling freely in whichever direction they naturally go. Upper back relaxed downward. Whole of the back line of the body just connecting with the ground. Soft, relaxed, supported. Surrendering into stillness. Those of you that have the time to stay longer in Shavasana, please feel free to do so. And those of you finishing together with me, just beginning to bring a little awareness back into the fingers, wiggling the fingers and the toes, and reaching the arms all the way up overhead, inviting a full body stretch. Drawing the knees in towards the chest, and giving them a hug. Rolling a little from side to side or back and forth. Eventually rolling over to rest on your side body. Pushing the ground away from you with your hands, lifting yourself up to a comfortable seat. And just taking a moment to notice how you feel. And let's see if you can carry this feeling of calmness, spaciousness with you into the rest of your day. Let's bring our hands together at heart center. Bowing our head to our hands in gratitude for the practice, gratitude for our health and these bodies that move freely as they do. Namaste.